Immigration and Customs Enforcement's latest crackdown on illegal immigration involves hundreds of arrests in the Houston area.
Panel, we are told at least one of the men in custody had been deported not once, but twice before.
Weekend when officials did detain about 150 people.
Today, Houston became the center of one of the largest immigration operations in U.S. history, as ICE agents, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, completed a 6-week raid against criminal networks of Venezuelan cartels in southeast Texas. The reason for the start were numerous signals about threats to public safety from thousands of criminals associated with TREN de Aragua and other Venezuelan syndicates, who infiltrated through the border and terrorized local communities with murders, rapes, and drug trafficking. The operation began on October 1, 2025, and lasted until today, despite budgetary difficulties in the government, when many agents worked without pay. The name of the special operation is not specified, but it was a massive action led by ICE ERO, Enforcement and Removal Operations, Houston Field Office. The initiator was the office director Brett Bradford, who emphasized the mission of protecting society from dangerous criminal aliens from Venezuelan cartels. The scene of action is Houston and surrounding areas, where federals hunted fugitives, TREN de Aragua gangsters, and recidivists. The political context adds sharpness, criticism of the administration for weak immigration barriers that allowed Venezuelan cartels to establish themselves in the U.S., over 3,500 arrests, a record figure that surpasses previous campaigns, demonstrating ICE's determination even in crisis. The operation targeted all of southeast Texas, with a primary focus on Houston. A hotspot for illegal migrants with criminal backgrounds. MS-13 and Pisces gang members controlled territories, child predators hunted for victims, and killers evaded justice. Their activities were hidden behind the facade of ordinary life. Many of those arrested worked in construction, service jobs, or simply hid in the shadows, exploiting soft immigration policies such as release on bond or unenforced deportation orders. For example, 44-year-old Mexican national Froilan Mejia Olvera, a convicted rapist, had previously been released under ICE's 2023 guidelines, only to commit another crime later. The targets weren't confined to a single location. The raids stretched into cities like Dallas and Harris County, where fugitives such as Octavio Cruz Garcia, deported 5 times and wanted for murder, were apprehended. Agents broke into homes where they discovered weapons, drugs, though not detailed, and evidence of criminal activity. This wasn't a single fortress like a nightclub. It was a dispersed network where criminals disguised themselves as migrants seeking a better life. Federal officials described the effort as removing thousands of violent offenders from local communities. The operation turned peaceful streets into a battlefield for public safety, clearing them of invisible threats. Born inside Venezuela's notorious prisons, including Tocaron, TREN de Aragua evolved from a penitentiary gang into a global syndicate, blending cartel-level trafficking with militarized violence. What began as a survival-based inmate group has transformed into an empire responsible for human trafficking, narcotics distribution, murders, and intimidation. Their crimes are infamous: mass executions, rapes, youth recruitment, and control over migrant routes. Their geographic footprint now spans Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Mexico, and increasingly the United States, with active cells in Texas. During the operation, 23 gang members were arrested, including 23-year-old Venezuelan Brian Josue Pineda Ayala of TREN de Aragua, suspected in a triple homicide in Dallas. Overall, the group is a mix of hardened repeat offenders: 67 sex offenders, 51 child predators, 13 killers, and 10 fugitives. Most originate from Venezuela, such as the Cruz Hernandez brothers wanted for murder. They cross the border by blending into migrant flows, then terrorize local communities. Federal agents describe them as violent criminal aliens tied to Venezuelan cartel structures, poisoning the very communities they hide within. The Houston operation against Venezuelan cartels was the result of months of intensive surveillance targeting criminal networks across southeast Texas. Agents relied on multiple methods, analyzing ICE databases for immigration violations, tracking criminal histories through data shared by local law enforcement on DWIs, assaults, weapons offenses, and narcotics. They also monitored repeat border entries by known offenders such as Venezuelan national Froilan Mejia Olvera, released in 2023 under federal policy, only to commit additional crimes in 2025. Officials chose to launch the operation on October 1, 2025, due to escalating threats from Venezuelan gang members, a peak in violence that included murders and sexual assaults. Budget shortages within the government added further difficulty. Many agents worked without pay, yet the mission remained a priority. Intelligence gathering involved network mapping and unspecified financial flow analysis, with a heavy focus on criminal records. Hundreds of targets with convictions for human trafficking and terrorism-related offenses. The preparation allowed for mass arrests with minimal resistance, prioritizing child predators and gang members. Why now? The rapid expansion of Venezuelan criminal influence forced a decisive response, turning the operation into a demonstration of federal strength. Agents took significant risks but identified 3,593 targets, making it one of the largest anti-cartel actions ever conducted. Tactical teams were used to conduct surprise arrests, avoiding escalation. Resistance was minimal. For example, in the case of Venezuelan TREN de Aragua member Brian Pineda Ayala, who was taken into custody on October 7, civilian safety was a priority. Agents focused on removing criminals without endangering innocent residents. No explosives or flashbangs were used. These were quiet operations relying on warrants and database-driven targeting. Those detained will remain in ICE custody while awaiting deportation or prosecution. Seized items included fake documents, criminal evidence such as IDs, entry records, and other materials. Weapons and narcotics were not detailed, though the context suggests confiscation. This includes the arrest of Brian Pineda Ayala, suspected in a triple homicide. Many detainees are repeat offenders, such as Juan Jose Moreno Renteria, who entered the U.S. 7 times from Venezuela. The Houston operation also uncovered the financial schemes of Venezuelan cartel networks, which laundered money through drug trafficking, extortion, and human smuggling. They relied on cryptocurrency, offshore accounts in Panama and Colombia, and shell companies to disguise profits from violence. Investigators recovered digital evidence, phones with encrypted chats, databases of border entries, and electronic crime records. File analysis revealed repeated deportations, such as those of Baldomero Perez Quesada, removed 4 times and linked to Venezuelan networks. Payment channels included extortion cash and digital transfers through Chinese crypto exchanges. Federal agents seized evidence for potential RICO charges, including communications from fugitives. Today, authorities in Houston are responding to the operation. ICE Director Brett Bradford praised his agents, saying, "Despite working without pay, they protected communities from gang members." Politicians criticized the administration for policies they claim enabled Venezuelan networks to take root. Local Texas officials voiced support, emphasizing public safety. Residents expressed relief at the removal of thousands of threats. The operation is expected to have long-term consequences. Deportations of arrested offenders, including fugitives like the Cruz Hernandez brothers, back to Venezuela. Additional arrests expanding into other states, and upcoming prosecutions that may result in life sentences for TREN de Aragua killers. Officials say this marks the beginning of a new phase in the fight against transnational Venezuelan criminal networks. The operation signals the end of an era of impunity for criminal migrants from Venezuela.